Good evening, USA. I hope you are doing good. It is so good to see your face. Now, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world, so I don't want to waste any more time. But thank you so much for tuning in to the Adam C. Moreno Show. I hope it finds you well. If you like to consume your news and content and information here, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Now, let's get into it. So here's what's happening today and in the world. So John Fetterman, once again, is just out talking to a bunch of reporters. He kind of cracks a joke about him being the prime minister of Greenland, but he's going to be meeting with President Trump soon. And that is really, really interesting. He's going to be meeting with him at Mar-a-Lago, which I believe is going to be the first sitting Democrat senator to do so, according to Benny Johnson. So this is really interesting stuff. And something else that's happening is Gavin Newsom, California governor, is facing a ton of backlash, kind of rightfully so. But there's even other leaders like the LA Fire Department chief who are taking like huge jabs at the leadership in California, kind of showing a huge shift that has taken place. And more culturally, there's another conversation that is happening in regards to the future of California, and it's this idea that Nicole Shanahan is really preparing to step into this role because again, Governor Newsom is facing a lot of backlash, a lot of heat, and this isn't even just coming from accounts that are very clearly supportive of Shanahan. She's actually becoming part of this larger conversation, right? All across the internet, like people love Shanahan. It is crazy. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about it. We're also gonna talk about something funny that President Biden said, which is pretty hilarious. But we're gonna start here with John Fetterman this morning at the Capitol. Check this out.
Hey, Senator. Can we ask you what you hope to get out of your visit to Mar-a-Lago to talk to Donald Trump?
What are we talking about here? Is there some news?
There's some news. We hear that you're going to be heading down to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
What will you be discussing with the president?
Well, yeah, I demand that I need to be made Pope of Greenland.
Do you have the resume to be Pope?
I'm having a conversation like he's the president, is going to be. So, I am not the senator for just Democrats in Pennsylvania. I'm everyone's senator in Pennsylvania. And so it's just having a conversation with
Can we?
I'm going to vote on the Lakin bill, and I was a co-sponsor of that.
So, you're going to vote for final passage for that?
Can you?
Alrighty. Now, real quick, I do have a correction, kind of like on The View whenever they make a mistake. In the beginning, I said that John Fetterman cracks a joke about being named Prime Minister of Greenland. The actual thing was being the Pope of Greenland. So I do apologize for my mistake, but I just love what he said, and he actually reiterated this statement on his own Senator Fetterman PA account. And this is just so good. He writes, "I'm not just a senator for Democrats. I'm a senator for all Pennsylvanians." It's so good. "It's my job to find common ground and deliver results for everybody. And because nobody is my gatekeeper, I will meet anyone to secure some wins." And that includes President Trump. This is so good. Again, working across the aisle, finding common ground. This is good. Alrighty, we are back. I'm so sorry. I had to pause for like 30 seconds because it turns out some audio kind of messed up on the software that I was using, so I had to restart. My browser and all that stuff. I apologize, but we are back. Again, it would have been easier to go ahead and restart everything, but I'm like, no. Actually, let's keep this raw. Let's keep it imperfect because that's what life is. All right, so let's just keep it going. Again, I was talking about this post that John Fetterman made on his Senator Fetterman account, and it is just so good. Some of the top comments, right? "This will fit you perfectly, Senator Fetterman," and it is him wearing a MAGA sweatshirt, and it's hilarious. But the comment that I really love, and this looks like it's the top comments by American Spitfire. And also, real quick, someone was saying that the way that I say based was funny yesterday. Also, whenever I was talking about John Fetterman, I was like, man, John Fetterman is so based. And they were like, I don't know why, but you say it like an old person. And I just want to say, you know what? I kind of have an old soul. Like I don't know how old you guys think I am. I might be a little older than you think though, because a lot of people think I'm a young gun. But look at my bags and tell me what you think. But look at what American Spitfire wrote. They wrote, this is the stance every politician should take. Once you are elected, you are a representative of all your constituents. You aren't Republican or Democrat. You are an American leader. Holy smokes. That is so good. And I really do think that Senator Fetterman is a great example of what kind of a healthy Democrat looks like. And I believe, and what a great segue. Speaking of healthy Democrats, this is kind of a polar opposite view, and this is now Governor Newsom, Gavin Newsom, and he writes the statement to Donald Trump, and he writes, as you prepare to assume the presidency once more, I invite you to come to California. And this is crazy because obviously these guys have not worked hand in hand many times before, because for one, Governor Newsom refuses to take any sort of advice that the president has, and now he's kind of dealing with those consequences, but nonetheless, he is asking for help amidst this tragedy. And some of this backlash, like I said earlier, it's now being directed to him by even the leadership of the fire department. And a lot of people have been saying many things about some of its leadership, but one of the things that I want to share is them their own words to you. I thought this was really fascinating. Check this out.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job. And I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Boom. Right there. A straight answer. Did they fail you? And she said, she actually smiles. She smiles and then says, yes, they did. Now, I don't think there's any question that so much of this leadership is to blame. And I don't know if it's just Gavin or if it's just the mayor or if it's a huge culmination of all of these people who had their hand in the pot. I think anyone who's responsible should be taking so much responsibility, but so much of this does have to do with the top of the leadership, and a lot of this is Gavin Newsom. And I saw this post today from Brian Kranzenstein, and he shared this conversation with Gavin Newsom and President Biden, and I believe that's Kamala Harris right there. And Gavin Newsom is in the middle of this crazy storm, fire, in the middle of Los Angeles being literally on fire. He is over here talking about how they need more censorship to President Biden. This is crazy to me. Watch for yourself if you don't believe me. Check this out.
I ask you, we've got to deal with this misinformation. There were hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation lies. People want to divide this country, and we're going to have to address that as well. And it breaks my heart as people are suffering and struggling that we're up against those hurricane forces as well. And that's just a point of personal privilege that I share that with you because it infects real people that are out there, people I meet every single day, people the mayor's been meeting with, and they're having conversations that are not the typical conversations you'd have at this time. And you wonder where this stuff comes from. And it's very damaging as well. But we're here to get the job done. I ask.
Right here. He's asking President Biden to step in and do something about this misinformation crisis while literal homes are being burnt down. Children are losing their schools. This is not okay. And I love that Shank Uger over here on X posted this yesterday. He writes, when a politician says not politicize something, they are politicizing it by trying to avoid responsibility for their political actions. And again, this is all the difference between taking accountability, taking responsibility, and doing something about it, and then completely reflecting it. Okay, there's a very, very big difference here. And whenever I look at Gavin Newsom, this is just my opinion, but geez, do I think he is the king of reflecting? And this isn't good. But something good has happened. And I remember I made a video many years ago, and I wrote that I want to end every video off with something positive. And I always said, "You are loved." I did that for many years. And now that I make kind of content like this, I wanna share some other. I try to share some more positive news. I try to be a little bit hopeful and joyful here while I do this, because this is a hard thing to do. This is a hard business, and there's terrible things that are happening. But there are some sprinkles of the good, right? And that's what I want to share right now. There's these creators that I follow, and I adore them so much. Their names are Colin and Samir. I apologize because sometimes I mispronounce your name and I say Colin because I'm not the smartest, but these guys make a lot of educational content regarding YouTubers and creators, and it looks like both of their homes were destroyed here. And but like I said, I do believe this is there's some sprinkle of the good here, and here it is. It looks like Dude Perfect, which is another huge channel. They made a video saying that these guys are very close to us, and we wanted to start a GoFundMe for them. And like, also real quick, both of these guys, their wives were both pregnant, or sorry, their wives are pregnant, and now they need to deal with this new crisis of not having a home anymore, but still needing to take care of their family and just being there and everything. And this is just a really, really big deal. So I'm glad that Dude Perfect, which is a huge channel, they make a lot of challenge videos and they have millions and millions of subscribers. It's crazy. So they started this GoFundMe, and here's the positive part. Really, this is the positive stuff. The title is "Help Colin and Samir Start Again." And look at this. It's only been live for a couple hours, and they already surpassed their goal. Their initial goal was actually $100,000. So it looks like they raised it, but they passed their initial goal within hours. And this was crazy. And I love that I see that Ryan Trahan was actually one of the top donors here. That just made me so happy. I don't know if you guys know who Ryan Trahan is, but Ryan Trahan is such a beautiful like bright spot on YouTube, right? He makes so many incredible videos. He's very hopeful, very joyful. He's very positive, and I really, really like this guy, and I love the videos that he makes. And he donated $50,000 to these guys, and I just think that's great. And while I know and I recognize that there is tragedy, and I'm praying for all of these people, and I hope that so many people could fight their way and hopefully rebuild, and I believe that this city and this community is going to thrive once again. It is a tragedy, but I do want to I wanted to sprinkle in this good because I think it's important. I do think it's important. Now, speaking on more of the long-term vision for creating a better and more hopeful change in California, there's Nicole Shanahan. And honestly, I love that the more time that passes, the more days that pass, Nicole Shanahan becomes a more prominent voice in this conversation, the person who could step in after Newsom. And this is crazy. Holden writes, Nicole Shanahan for governor of California. Californians want change. They don't want any more of this bull crap. She calls Gavin Newsom's California regimen of nihilism and of corruption. As a Maha independent, she can defeat the corrupt California Democrat machine. What do you think about it? You let me know. But the real thing that I loved about this was I even saw this on Patrick Bet David. I didn't even know they knew each other. But Patrick Bet David, on his huge platform, right, over 1 million followers and millions of subscribers all across everything, he writes, who would you like to see replace Newsom as the governor of California? Like I said, like everyone is taking shots at Governor Newsom. It is crazy. But he writes, nominate them. And to my complete surprise, like I've been advocating for Nicole Shanahan, I have, but I didn't realize she was part of this much larger conversation that people were having. So, and look at this, Ian Carroll, this guy's awesome, right? But he wrote Nicole Shanahan, period, easy choice, an American flag. Guys, this has over 7,000 likes. This is crazy. This is easily the top one. And I was scrolling because I'm like, okay, well, who else is actually being recommended here? And again, Nicole Shanahan, that's another person, one of the right here, one of the top comments. And I try to scroll because I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's other people who, like, maybe my responses are being filtered, right? There's someone else named Richard Grenell, right? Mel Gibson has over almost 1,000 likes. James Wood, but another person for Nicole Shanahan, right? Another person for Nicole Shanahan, Big Sippin', Nicole Shanahan, MAGA owes a debt to her. She kept her word, right? Another person for Nicole Shanahan, another one for Nicole Shanahan, right? Lita Normina for Nicole Shanahan. So this is kind of crazy, right? Vic Duran out here saying Nicole Shanahan for governor of California, right? Someone else recommending Grant Cardone, but you see what I mean. There seems to be a general census here, and I don't know. I love it. Look at this other comment from Amity. They wrote, "Don't live there, but Nicole Shanahan would be cool." So just so you guys know, this is kind of like an overwhelming response going towards Nicole Shanahan. And yeah, there are other people here, but it does seem to be a general census that is strongly in favor of Nicole Shanahan. That's crazy. That's very, very surprising. So I'd love to ask you what you would think about that. And if you think Nicole Shanahan not only has the ability to do the job, but the ability to do the job well. All right. I would love to hear your thoughts there. Now, I saw that Colin Rugg, he actually just shared this. This is probably the most breaking of the news that we have here. And he wrote, Justin, President Biden says he could have and would have won the 2024 election had he stayed in. All right. But check this out. This is about a minute clip, but it's pretty good. All right. Right here at the White House in the Roosevelt Room. Check this out.
Mr. President, do you regret your decision to run for re-election? Do you think that made it easier for your predecessor to now become your successor?
I don't think so. I think I would have beaten Trump, could have beaten Trump, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump, would have beaten Trump. It wasn't about, I thought it was important to unify the party. And when the party was worried about whether or not I was going to be able to move, I thought, even though I thought I could win again, I thought it was better to unify the party. And it was the greatest honor in my life to be president of the United States, but I didn't want to be one who caused a party that wasn't unified to lose an election. And that's why I stepped aside, but I was confident she could win.
Do you think she should run again?
Wow. That is absolutely insane. President Biden. And you know what? I really think that this part where he said, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump and would have beaten Trump, I really think he was just saying that to save face. I really think the most truthful aspect of this was in the beginning when he wrote, I would have beaten Trump. I could have beaten Trump. And like, let me remind you that he was the only person who beat Trump. Okay. Hillary didn't beat him. Kamala Harris didn't beat him. President Biden remains the only person who has beaten President Trump. So that is wild, but interesting nonetheless. And with that, I believe that closes all of the conversations that I have prepared today. I do want to say one other thing, and this is kind of an apology. And it was whenever I was trying to share this this kind of bright spot on what happened with these YouTubers that I followed. I hope it doesn't come off as bad. But I really was trying to share something a little bit hopeful and a little bit joyful in this experience, which is that we I don't know, I just feel like we saw a lot of generosity here with a lot of people, including Ryan Trahan and just other creators. And I don't know why, I just really wanted to share that. And I think you can kind of share some of the some of the good that might be coming out of this, although it just feels, I don't know, feels bad to even say that, because obviously there's so much destruction here and the fires are still going on, and sometimes and it looks like in some cases they might be even spreading still. And all I want to say is I'm definitely praying for everyone, and I hope that everyone is safe. I hope the fires. You know what I was doing last night? I was praying for rain. All right, really, like, okay, come on, California, we need some rain. I was like, it's crazy that in other parts of the world, there's technology that goes up into the sky and creates rain, and I'm like, and now there's so much kind of disruption that is existing. And yeah, some of it has to do with a lack of resources, but some of it has to do with simply there being a management issue. Like, I love that Nicole Shanahan, she wrote in response to Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders made this post and he wrote, 80,000 people told to evacuate. Blazes are 0% contained. 8 months since this area has seen rain. The scale of damage and loss is unimaginable. Climate change is real, not a hoax, right? Donald Trump must treat this like the existential crisis it is. That's what Bernie Sanders wrote. All right. And Nicole Shanahan responded in a quote tweet, and she wrote, state management is real, Bernie. So I really, really value that perspective. So piggybacking on that idea, it's that I do think there's moments of destruction and crisis that ultimately lead to having a culture shift that leads to better things. And that's all I was really wanting to say. Anyways, that's the end of this conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, this isn't like a one-way conversation. This is really two-way, as it is in whenever a lot of people make news content. So if you don't agree with me, it's totally fine. Put it in the comment section, and I'll try to respond. Okay. Anyways, let me know what you think about some of these conversations, whether it's regarding Senator John Fetterman going to Mar-a-Lago to have conversations with President Trump and really just finding some common ground and being, I believe, a pretty good example of what democratic leadership should look like moving forward. And let me know what you think about some of the leadership that's being displayed in some of the people that might be responsible for this horrific fire. And yeah, and let me know what you think about Nicole Shanahan, and whether or not, if you're in California, whether or not you would consider voting for her, and whether you're in other states. Like, do you think having a Nicole Shanahan at the head of California, do you think that'd be a net positive for culture, for society, for country? If you ask me, I'm kind of leaning yes. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section, and I will see you all next time. I hope you have a great day. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.